so you can experience life with God while you're eating an acai bowl.
I'm not a neurosurgeon, not that smart. I forget things. I have 4 kids. They were not buy one, get one.
We go back to set up our tent camping situation.
Nobody explains this phenomenon that you actually have to coach toilet paper quantity.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
The votes are now in. The winning team is Andy.
Survival. We must win. It's tribal. My team like king, by any means necessary. One head to head with adversaries. Nothing is given, so we gotta take it. It's 4th and inches, so we gotta make it. Can you feel it?
Cedar Creek, welcome to Preach Off number 7. I'm Lauren Snyder, and here with me today is Luke Shortridge, and we can feel the excitement in the air as the 2 fiercest, albeit only teams in the league, take on this epic showdown. We've done our research, so you don't have to. Luke, what are your expectations for today?
Well, last year it was Sarah and Andy's year, but Ben and Barb aren't going anywhere. Ben is like the Patrick Mahomes of this thing. He just keeps coming back, and he gets better and better every year.
Oh, boy, he sure does. You know, Luke, as Ben's wife, I have a front row seat, and I have watched him over this past year become more relevant and oh so much stronger in every single way. Now, Andy, on the other hand, well, he's had a far different year. Andy actually went through total hip replacement surgery, a procedure typically reserved for people decades older than he is. But going through this, I have watched him embrace a more vintage approach to life, something I actually find endearing. So much so that I'm cheering for Andy this year.
All right.
I never thought
Excellent.
I'd see the day, but here we are. Now, in order to prevent this whole thing from turning into a flash mob and a tornado, we do need some guidelines, some rules. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, so you are going to be voting, and the contestants can score a possible 13 points per sermon. There's 1 point for a catchy bottom line. There's also a clear next step that is needed. We're about application here, not just information. They need a story or an illustration that fits well with the verse. They have 5 random words that they have to organically weave into the sermon, and then 5 points at your discretion. How do you think the competitor did?
That's right. And as Luke said, you will be voting. The decision is in the hands of you, our audience. And Luke, how exactly do they vote?
You are going to want to download the Cedar Creek app. If you're at one of our physical locations, you can scan the QR code around you. Download the app, click on Preach Off, and you are the one that controls who is the winner of Preach Off number 7.
That's right. Can't wait to see. Now it's time to buckle up, put your game faces on, hold on to your hats. We're going to send things right down to the field.
He's got a brand new hip, but she's still able to run circles around him. Please welcome Andy and Sarah. Please welcome your home team. He saw his favorite team go to the national championship. She saw her favorite team win it. Please welcome Ben and Barb.
Yeah. Cedar Creek, how y'all feeling? Oh, goodness. All right. Welcome to Preach Off number 7. I'm your host, Zeke Griffin, your on-field reporter, and I'm sure you're not here for me, but it's okay. I'm sure you're trying to think what's going on in the minds of our team. So let's actually find out real quick. All right. When it comes to the last year's winners, Sarah, how we feeling?
We're good. I think we're ready for a repeat, right, Andy?
Oh, okay. And Andy, how's that hip?
It's brand new.
Last time I asked you. All right. Team Ben, Barb, how we feeling?
A little nervous, but I think we're doing all right.
Okay. And Ben?
Unlike the refs in tonight's game, I'm not sure they're going to be on our side, okay?
Shots fired. Well, speaking of refs, we have to meet our ref. Ref, come on out here. Gabe. Y'all give it up for Gabe. All right, coin toss. All right, on one side we have the Eagles. The other side we have the Chiefs. Whichever side it lands on, that team will choose to defer or receive. Let's go ahead and flip it. Kansas City. All right, Ben. Gonna receive? Well, there you have it. Up to you, Luke and Lauren.
Thanks, Zeke. In this first quarter, the team is going to take on Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. It says, "The human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is?" Well, I'm excited to hear some context from Luke right after this.
I have moderate to severe middle age, but that doesn't slow me down. Thanks to Young Again.
Young Again is a suppository treatment for people 40 and up who have a high risk factor for feeling like an outdated bag of meat just waiting to die.
I can stay up past 8.
I don't think about death as much.
I'm 61 years old. Certain risk factors increase your chance of early onset middle age, such as buying your clothes at Costco, if you still have cable, and living in the Midwest.
What's a hot flash? The hair on my back went away.
Watch this. Ask your doctor if Young Again is right for you. In some clinical trials, patients encountered the rare side effect of a Sasquatch attack. I know, right? We were surprised too. These patients experienced dislocated elbows, broken ribs, Sasquatch bites, spine pounded into dust, legs ripped off, a sudden sense of helplessness, wanting their mommies, skull smashed like a rotten pumpkin, and the waking nightmare of a half-human, half-ape relentlessly pursuing them. In the event of a Sasquatch attack, please stop taking this drug immediately and call your doctor. Young Again. Get that spring back in your step, unless a Sasquatch eats you.
Ben, there's hope. Ben, there's hope for me to stay up past 8 p.m. I am totally buying Young Again.
I don't know what a suppository is, and I don't want to find out.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Luke, why don't you give us the context on that verse?
Yes, so Jeremiah was a prophet, one of the major prophets, and for 39 years he ministered to the nation of Judah, the southern kingdom, and told them to turn from their wicked ways, their idol worship, and to turn to the Lord. For 39 years, ultimately, he was unsuccessful, and Jerusalem was then destroyed. Jeremiah then wrote the book of Lamentations because he was sad. He was lamenting the fact that what he thought was going to happen happened. And what we learn here is that the heart can be deceitful and wicked, that goodness is possible, but it is not through us. It's only through God. Will goodness be possible in this first sermon? We're going to find out in just a moment here as Barb delivers.
That's right. I have great expectations. She's been practicing the lights out offense all season long. Would you please put your hands together for Barb Bruce?
Barb Bruce, Bowling Green State University, go Falcons. So what was your favorite meal as a kid growing up? Did you have that favorite meal that when you came in the house and you smelled it and you were like, ooh, what was yours? Mine was slaw dogs. Has anybody ever had a slaw dog out there? It is a hot dog with coleslaw and meat sauce and onions. Oh, so good. Now, on the flip side, what was the meal you hated as a kid? Like liver, beans? There was a season in life, it was the summer that I turned 12, that my mom had this fascination with a particular meal that kept showing up over and over again. When you're a girl who is about to turn 12, like human anatomy is like, hee hee hee. So she developed this fascination for the Boston butt roast. And as a girl, I was so offended because I just was stressed about a roast that had the name of a dairy heir. But Mom, she wanted to get the most bang for her buck, and so she kept buying this roast over and over again. And my mom is a good cook. Now, when you are an 11-year-old girl living in my household, you have one job. When Mom calls at the end of the day, you take dinner out of the oven. Now, we had this meal a few times, and I had done all of the things I could do with, like, just trying to make it look like I wasn't eating the food. You know that trick where you cut it up real small, spread it around the plates? Anyone ever did that? So when I saw that I needed to take another one of these roasts out of the oven, my thought was, I just don't want to do that. Like, I needed a glimmer of hope that something could be different for this meal that I'd wanted. And you know what? I love a mushroom. Mom didn't have any shiitake mushrooms around, and so it was just really a bummer. And I mean, it was summertime, and so I couldn't put on my corduroy jeans. I just had on a plain shorts and a t-shirt. And my brother, he would come and he would like snoop. And like Snoop Dogg wasn't a thing back then, but my brother would snoop. I should get extra points. And so we didn't have dessert planned that night. There was no fruit cake. But what I did need to do was get that roast out of the oven. And so, friends, I took it out. And as I was taking it out, now I could smell the barbecue sauce on this roast. But the smell was deceptive, friends, because I knew there was a butt roast inside, and I was not going to eat that butt roast. And so as I was pulling it out of the oven carefully, Mom had that black roaster pan. Did anybody's mom ever have that black roaster pan? And so I went to lift it on the stove, and then I looked over to the side, and I just tipped that whole roast into the trash can. Aluminum foil and all, y'all. And the only reason I stand before you today as a 52-year-old woman is that my black mother did not kill me. In Jeremiah 17:9, the prophet says, the human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? Even at the age of 11, I had this desire to control my circumstances. And inside, what I was telling myself was, I don't like this, and so I'm going to do what I can do to fit what I want. I think we can all relate to that. There are things in our lives that we don't like, and we have our motives for how we want to try to fix and control things. I like to say that we want to protect what we love, we want to fix what's broken, and we want to keep things on track. And while those things sound good and noble, often it is because we have lies that we're telling ourselves about what we think we deserve, what we are trying to get for ourselves, and sometimes things that God doesn't want for us. And so as I think about my 11-year-old self, and even myself now, I have to be honest about those things in my life where I know that I'm not being completely honest. And that is where we give thanks for the grace of God. The grace of God is where we can make mistakes, things that we may mess up, motives that may have hurt ourselves or others. And what I give so much gratefulness for is today's bottom line, that your past is your history, but not your destiny. That there are places where if you're looking at your past of some things you did from some wrong motives, that God's grace is for you, so that your past can be your history, but not your destiny. And so as a next step, I want you to take a moment today and think through where it is you need to be honest before God. What is you need to confess, and also community, who do you need to tell so that you can experience God's grace?
All right, Barb. Okay, so being the first one to go, How do you feel right now?
Done.
Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
I'll tell you what, when Barb stood up, she knew she had a job to do, and like she said, she got it done. Well done, Barb Bruce. What'd you think?
Barb crushed it. Her story and illustration was memorable. That Boston butt roast, I was hungry just thinking about it. Her catchy bottom line, your past is your history, but not your destiny. Love that. She got her next step in right under the wire. Think through where you need to be honest, and she got all of her random words. Glimmer of hope, shiitake mushrooms, corduroy jeans, Snoop she used 2 different ways, and fruitcake. Full marks. Barb Bruce.
Great job, Barb. Now, in a twist on our typical endorsements, the team captains had an opportunity to curate their own products, the brands, the companies that truly embody their own persona and style. And so Andy is up first as the team captain, and the first product that Andy is endorsing is Toys R Us. And here's what Andy had to say about Toys R Us. I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I could play with. From bikes to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there was. I don't want to grow up, cause maybe if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. Andy, I just want you to know that I admire your commitment to not growing up. Okay, well, we're going to move into the second quarter, and the verses that we're going to tackle is from Matthew chapter 12, verse 21. It says, "And his name will be the hope of all the world." We'll get the context from Luke right after this.
Are you a man of few words? Do you struggle to communicate?
Scratch.
From the maker of Fido Speaks, now introducing He Speaks. The new state-of-the-art communication buttons that'll have you conversing like never before. It's a modern translator for the modern man. It's never been this simple to communicate.
Snack.
Really? He Speaks is effective even during a crisis.
Toilet paper. Toilet paper. Toilet paper. Toilet, 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 toilet paper. Remote. Sports.
You want the remote so you can watch the game.
Remote.
Now introducing She Speaks, button communication for women.
Remote. Sports.
Get it yourself.
He Speaks, She Speaks.
Sexy time?
Keep talking.
I am just so impressed that they got She Speaks down to 273 buttons.
I have one button, and it says, you're not just right, you're always right.
Ooh, I should get one of those for Ben. Okay, all right. Luke, what is the context on this verse?
Yes, so this verse actually is a messianic prophecy from the book of Isaiah. This was written hundreds of years before Jesus, and it was fulfilled in Christ, that his name would be the hope of the world. Names are really important in scriptures. We find out that names tell us all about the people that they represent. And in the name of Jesus, God with us, hope would be found. All hope would be found in him. The Israelites wanted a Messiah that would restore the golden age of Israel, such as in the time of David or Solomon. But Jesus would come as a Messiah not to help militarily Israel to win back their independence and their right. Instead, he would come to help people to break free from sin, which was actually a much greater and deeper need. And where do they find that hope? In the name of Jesus.
Well, she has been practicing the zone read all year long. Put your hands together for Sarah Bucher.
Sarah Bucher, Bowling Green State University, talons up.
All right, so this summer, my family and I went on a family vacation to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Anybody been there? Anybody drive there with children? Yep, it was interesting. It was interesting. They did all right. It was sort of like an Ember experience. They hung in there and they did well. But thanks, Gabe. We get there everything's fantastic, and there's a lot of us, 16 people. It was my husband's whole family. It was our whole aura going on. And we're trying to figure out what to do because there's a lot of people, and trying to coordinate schedules and plans with all that people, it's a lot. Some people wanted to have eggnog, some people wanted to watch TV, some people wanted to take Doritos to the beach. Everybody had different plans. But my husband said one night, why don't we go to medieval times? Anybody been to medieval times? Okay, it's like this jousting, swords and horseback. It's like a total boy thing, right? It's disappointing. And it's a lot of money. So I was like, I don't want to do that. You go have a boy adventure. But my mother-in-law, she was like, why don't we go on a dolphin cruise? It's more my speed. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go see some dolphins. So my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, we plan this girls' trip. We're super excited. We pull into the marina. There's a boat. It's a bigger boat than I anticipated, but I'd rather be on a bigger boat than a smaller boat, right? So we get in, we're getting situated, and the captain says, just so you guys know, it's a little rockier today. The sea's a little rockier than normal. I'm like, all right, that's totally fine. I'm not a boat expert, but I have been on boats before, and we were prepared to get wet. We're fine. And all of a sudden, they're passing out Ziploc bags, and everyone's putting their phone and their sunglasses and stuff in Ziploc bags. And I was like, that's weird. I don't think I need one. I got a purse. I feel fine. So we're channeling out. And right before we kick it to get into the Atlantic, the captain, he's got this Matthew McConaughey vibe, He's like, all right. If you start to feel not as good as you feel right now, just head to the back of the boat and let it rip. So once I figure out what he meant, I'm starting to get a little nervous. He floors it. Listen to me. I don't think I've ever been that scared in my entire life. These waves all of a sudden were up and over the boat so fast, I literally could not breathe. We could not catch our breath. Salt water stinging everywhere. I'm gulping. I'm actually drowning. I was terrified. And we were going so fast, and nobody wanted to be the first person to panic. So we're all looking around at each other like, are you good? Are you good? It's terrifying. So we ride out this way for 20 minutes, right? We finally stop, it gets calm, and we get to the cove area where the dolphins are, and there's all these boats. Guess how many dolphins we saw? None. No dolphins. Just a seat in the death boat for nothing. It was terrible. And I was just clinging to the hope that maybe I would live, and maybe I would see some dolphins. But here's the thing, life doesn't always go the way we think it will. Which brings us to this verse from the book of Matthew. It says, and his name will be the hope of the world. Just take a moment. His name will be the hope of the world. And I think we see a verse like this and we think it means eternity. And it does. That's true. But I don't know about you, I need his hope today. I needed his hope when I was on that boat, and I need his hope every single day. And I'm sure you do too. I don't know what you're facing today, whether it's a financial burden or a relational burden or a sickness. I don't know what you're praying for. I don't know what you need hope for, but I bet you need it today. So here's your bottom line. Trusting in a good God can't be bad. Trusting in a good God can't be bad because he is your hope. And sometimes it's every minute we've got to look to that hope. It's every hour. It's every day we need the hope of the world. And so our next step, you guys, we're going to do it together. We're going to pray right now and ask for the hope of the world. Will you pray with me? God, we need your hope. It's as simple as that. For the things that we need rescued from, will you do it in Jesus' name? Amen.
In the middle of the prayer. That is gold. I knew what I wanted to say, but that's okay. Sarah. All right, so walk us through your day waking up and leading up to this moment.
Eat a good breakfast and pray.
And also, could you share with us again, what sound was it you all made when you were on the boat? Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
I'll tell you what, Sarah put her foot on the accelerator and she never let off. Great job, Sarah.
Sarah did awesome. Loved her story and illustration, even though she did insult medieval times, which is one of the coolest things in the world. That's okay. Dolphin Cruise was memorable and needed hope during it, which led to the bottom line, trusting in a good God can't be bad. Clear next step, she got in there right under the wire, pray and ask for hope of the world. As for the random words, she definitely got aura, eggnog, Doritos, disappointing, but she just said Ember experience, and the ref did buzz her on that. I don't know if I can give her credit for it, but overall, Sarah did a phenomenal job.
She sure did, but it's not what we think about it. It's what you, the audience, thinks. Remember to vote. Where do they do that?
So you are going to want to vote right now on the Cedar Creek app. Pull up the Cedar Creek app and score for the first half.
That's right. Get those votes in. And while you're voting, we have another endorsement. This time it comes from our team captain, Ben. And this endorsement is for Jeep. And here's the thing, friends. Ben had one endorsement opportunity after another. He had to sift through them, Luke. He had to look for the ones that truly embodied his caring, good-looking, hardworking, creative, adventurous. Did I say good looking?
That was too many adjectives.
Okay, all right, that truly embodied his spirit. So Jeep is the first one. And here's what Ben has to say about it. Actually, I'm so sorry. It's Nike. My bad. Ben says, just do it. Ben, that's clear and actionable, just like you. I love it. I'm in. All right, friends. Well, don't blink because now it's time for the halftime show.
Y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the no. Here comes the oh. Here comes the y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the no. Here comes the oh. Here comes the and I know she'll be the death of me. At least we'll both be known. She'll always get the best of me, the worst is yet to come. But at least we'll both be beautiful and stay forever young. This I know, and this I know. She told me don't worry about it. She told me don't worry no more. We both know we can't go without it. And she told me you'll never be alone. I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, but I love it. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus and America too. She's a good girl, is crazy about Elvis, loves horses and a boyfriend too, yeah. It's a long day living in Reseda. There's a freeway running through the yard, and I'm a bad boy 'cause I don't even miss her, and I'm a bad boy for breaking her heart. And I'm free, free falling. Yeah, I'm free, free falling, falling. Yeah, I'm free, free falling, falling. Yeah, falling, I'm a free falling, free falling. Yeah, I'm free, falling, I'm a free falling, free falling, falling.
Oh, you know this one, people. This brought generations together, so let me see those lights on your phones. Let's do it together. Yeah, you know it. Here we go.
Set up high, I'm strong enough to take these dreams and make them mine. So let's go there.
Feeling it?
Let's go there. Come on, let's go there. Let's ask, can we stay? Woo! Can you take me higher? Yeah. To a place where blind men see. Can you take me higher? To a place where golden streets. Can you take me higher? To a place where blind men see. Can you take me higher? To a place with golden streets.
Wow, I am still trying to pull my brains back together after that halftime show.
I just had visions of shell necklaces, frosted tips, and bad decisions.
I think that was from about the year 1999. You know what? That's the year Ben and I met. That was a good one. Hey, Luke, everyone is so excited to hear. How are the teams doing so far?
It is time to reveal the first half scores, slightly ahead by 1 point, an average of 12 points to 11. Team B, the B team, has pulled ahead.
All right. Well, things are going great so far, but there's still a lot to come. Before we go any further, though, we do have another endorsement, and this one comes once again from Andy, our team captain, Andy, and this one is for marbles. Here's what Andy has to say about marbles. It's like the original version of high-stakes poker, but with less bluffing and more skinned knees. You know, Andy's working real hard not to lose his marbles, so let's keep cheering for him, everybody, okay? All right, well, we're about to head into that third quarter, And during the third quarter, they're going to tackle this verse from Romans chapter 15, verse 13. It says, I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. I cannot wait to find out what the context is on this verse, and we'll hear it from Luke right after this.
If you're like me, you've had the moment where you've said one thing, but they heard something totally different. Like when you say to a friend, I don't have a lot of time to help you right now. But what they walk away hearing is, we aren't friends anymore. Or a coworker says to you, overall, really good, but I think there are a few areas to update. And you heard, you're doing a terrible job and we have to fix everything. We all have an example of how this happens, and if we're being honest, it happens most often with the people closest to us. See, it's not just what's said, it's also about what's heard. So let's talk about how to improve all of our relationships with our series, I Said This, You Heard That.
I am really looking forward to the series. You know, Ben and I both took the assessment and found out that we are both Reds, which means that things get awfully fiery between us. Sometimes that means fireworks, and other times that means you might get a little bit burned. Luke, did you take the assessment?
I did. I got the color yellow, which is the color of cowards and butter.
Well, that's something, isn't it? All right, there's so much more to say about the I Said This, You Heard That series that's coming up. Make plans to join us there. And if you haven't taken the assessment yet, that's also on our app. But without further ado, Luke, we want the context for this verse.
Yes, so this was written by Paul. Paul was a church planner in the first century, and he's writing this to the Roman church. And he is asking his readers to live a holy life. He wanted them to live in harmony. Apparently there was infighting, there was problems, but he also reminds us that Christ, he came for the Jews and the Gentiles, and Paul here is talking about hope. The hope that we have for this world and for the next is squarely within Jesus himself.
It sure is. And up next is the guy who is the X Factor. Put your hands together for Ben Snyder.
Ben Snyder, the University of Toledo, go Rockets.
Have you ever said yes to something and you didn't realize what you were totally saying yes to? Like you're thinking you're going to the zoo and it's really a barracuda wrestling contest. It's like, oh, this is gonna be tough. Well, last year, a former staff member friend of mine, Alex Woody, who now works at a church in Alaska, invited me to come and speak. He said, I'll even pay your way. I'm like, I'm in. He's like, you can bring your wife. I'll pay her way. We're in. So we go out to Alaska. And so the Sunday that I preach, as I'm getting ready, he goes, hey, after service, you have enough time. Do you want to go see a glacier? I'm like, that would be a whirl. Like, sign me up. I am in. Have you seen a glacier? I hadn't seen a glacier. And so, after service, I preach at their church, and he's like, meet us in the parking lot, and we get into trucks, and there's these ATVs, like these side-by-sides, these razors that are in the back, and we drive 45 minutes, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, we got a flight tonight, 45-minute drive. So, we park in this parking lot, and I had a drippy outfit. I mean, it was 100% drip. And we had to put on like this waterproof clothes. And I'm like, what are these for? Like, we're going to see a glacier. We get into a gravel lot. We unload these razors. And like, it's all gravel and trails. And I'm starting to go, I should have asked more questions. Like, how long is this ride going to take to get to the glacier? And he's like, it's going to take 2 hours. I'm like, 2 hours? He's like, yeah, what are you crying about? Did you need some more lunch? Like some Jimmy John's and some mozzarella sticks or something? Come on, suck it up, get into the razors, let's go. So we get into these razors, and he starts whipping it 100 miles an hour around these like Alaskan trees. We're like 20 minutes in, and one of the kids that he brought in the other razor pukes. They're so sick. I'm like, this is a bad idea. So, sure enough, 2 hours later, after we pass some driftwood, we're navigating through some Alaskan streams that are like 20 degrees of water. I know, it freezes at 32, but it felt like it was 20 degrees. Anyway, we get to our glacier. And I was like, oh, unbelievable. So we turn around. Now we've got 2 hours to go back. And about 20 minutes into our ride back, my razor that I'm driving through a water stream up to my like knees stops. We can't get it started. We work on it. I don't know what I'm doing. They're working on it for like 20 minutes, and it doesn't go. So now they have to tow it with the other razor for an hour and 45 minutes. And so we start towing the other razor. And I'm thinking, well, this is weird. The other razor going through a thick, like Alaskan stream breaks down. And I hear our guide say, I don't know what to do. We're like bear meat on a napkin. Like, this is bear country. I'm thinking to myself, this is terrible. And you know what my wife is doing? She's laughing and videotaping the whole thing. She's like, this is great. They're like, we're going to need you to get out of the razor and push. So here we are, my wife and I, in cold Alaskan glacier water, pushing razors through the Alaskan wildlife. I'm sure I'm going to die. And suddenly, out of nowhere, the Holy Spirit whispers this verse. Not really, but this verse says, I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. This is a prayer reminding us that peace is a posture, not a place. And that's true for each and every one of us, because sometimes you find yourself in a mess. And for me, in the middle of the Alaskan glacier water, freezing, pushing these razors hours away from our flight, I looked over at my wife and I just thought, man, let's have the posture of peace. And really, you know, we can laugh about razors, but what God does is he reminds us that peace is found in him, in a healthy relationship with him, not getting to your destination on time, not getting everything sorted out here and now on time, because it's all out of our control. But peace is a posture found in him. And so we ended up making it to the airport on time. It was a miracle. Like, I go, God, I don't know how you pulled all those details together, but my favorite part of the story was being in the mess with him. And so if you're in the middle of the mess today, what I want to encourage you to do as your next step is to elevate your perspective to him and remember him in the midst of the mud and the circumstances. Find your hope in him, because peace is a posture, not a place.
All right. Okay, first off, well done on the word drip. Well done, okay. So Lauren was talking a little bit about the color assessment, and she said you're a red. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Well, I mean, that just means I like to tell people what to do.
Word. Well, I, too, took the color assessment, and to no one's surprise, I'm black. Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Oh, Zeke, great job. Hey, and Ben, great job to you. I want you to know I am beside you till the end. I love that Eye of the Tiger attitude you brought. You were amazing. What'd you think, Luke?
Ben scored a touchdown. His story, the Alaskan glacier trip. Nice job laughing about the whole situation, Lauren. Wow. Very memorable. I love the phrase, bear meat on napkin. That was new for me. His bottom line, peace is a posture, not a place. His clear next step, elevate your perspective to him. He got in there right under the wire. Random words, he got whirl, drip, mozzarella, driftwood, barracuda wrestling match. It's creative, I'll tell you that. Does it count? That is for you to decide.
It totally does. Remember to vote, friends. And while you're doing it, I have another endorsement. This one, once again, comes from my favorite team captain, although I'm cheering for both. But this one comes from Ben, and this endorsement is for the Steel to Real Club. Here's what Ben says. I'm proud to represent those who are really going places. Well, Ben, Alaska to the ends of the earth, wherever you're going, sign me up. All right, well, we're heading into the fourth quarter, and the other team, Team Andy, they're going to tackle Psalm 33, verse 20, which says, we put our hope in the Lord. He is our help and our shield. Luke will have the context right after this.
Chicken wrap for the lady, Limburger cheeseburger for you, sir.
Smells like you need a better body wash. Introducing Suave 16-in-1. Forget that 3-in-1 good-for-nothing crap. You need a product that you can do it all. body wash, shampoo, conditioner, and lotion? But wait, there's more. Much more. Deodorant that lasts all day. Shaving cream. Toothpaste. Sunscreen. SPF 30. Mouthwash. Chapstick. Contact solution. Drano. Hemorrhoid cream. Cocktail mixer. Multi-surface cleaner. The icing on the cake. It's a condiment. Suave 16-in-1. It's about time.
Now I understand why people at the gym were scrubbing their armpits with their toothbrush. It all makes sense.
If you're going to send an angry email, you're going to have to send it right to heaven because the King James Version uses that word 15 times.
Luke, I think you're a little confused, but that's totally fine. That's totally fine. We want the context, and I know you're not confused on the context.
Yes, so Psalms, this author is anonymous, which many of the Psalms were anonymous, but it talks about placing our trust in the Lord. Why? Because He is worthy. The book of Psalms really talks about two different paths. There's a path of going your own route and then the path of following God. And when we put our hope in the Lord, we find out that things turn out well. Both in this life and in the next, we are led to the promised land. We are led to a place where God takes care of our needs, where He shows us love, and He helps accept us in as part of His family. I am excited to see how this last sermon goes. I am putting my hope and my trust into Andy.
Oh, well, we'll see. You know, he is the MVP, the most vulnerable preacher. So let's be extra kind and gentle. Golf claps for Andy Rechtenwald.
Andy Rechtenwald, University of Toledo. Go Rockets. She's not wrong. I am the most vulnerable preacher, and my wife hates that because I always share stories that she hates. Speaking of stories that she hates, about 5 or 6 years ago, it was probably longer than that, I can't remember how many years ago it was, I had strep throat. I knew I had strep throat. Has anybody had strep throat before? If you've had it, and you've had it more than once, you know what it feels like. It sucks. It's not fun at all. So I had strep throat, and I went to a place where I needed help. I went to the urgent care. I walk into the urgent care, and what happens is that the person looks at me and she says, "What's wrong with you? Like, why are you here?" I said, "I have strep throat. It hurts." So she walks me back into the room where I get to sit, and then she does what? She takes my vitals. Everything's going according to plan. She goes, "Okay, you think you have strep throat? I'll call the doctor in." This gentleman walks in about 10 minutes later. Gentleman walks in, and I'm thinking, okay, just give me some antibiotics. Send me home. I'll be okay in a couple days. The guy walks in, supposedly a doctor, and he's wearing sweatpants. This is my first clue that something is wrong here. And he stares at me and says, you think you have strep throat, huh? And I can see the arc of this story kind of shifting at this point. Because I thought I was going to get some antibiotics, and this guy's wearing sweatpants. I'm not sure he's allowed to prescribe antibiotics. My pulse starts to raise. Like, I'm freaking out at this point. He's wearing sweatpants. The opposite of being eccentric. This is lazy. You shouldn't wear sweatpants as a doctor, right? Or a hoodie. He wasn't wearing a hoodie. He was actually wearing a lab coat. So that part was kind of professional. I felt no serenity at this time. He looks at me and says, "So you think you have strep throat?" Like, he's actually questioning me. I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. I don't want to be like I looked up my diagnosis beforehand. I was like, I'm pretty sure. You can give me a test." And he looks at me and goes, "Don't need a test. Blow in my face." I had the same reaction. I chuckled, which offended him. I don't know why, because this is one of the most egregious things a grown man has ever asked me to do to him. So I said, "You're joking." And he's like, "No, I can smell strep throat from a mile away." That's how I felt. So I am very upset, and this is vulnerable. I am upset to admit that I did blow in a grown man's face. I trusted him. I needed his help. So I did, and he looks at me right in my eyes, and he goes, "You don't have strep." And I'm like, "Well, come on, man." He goes, "If you like, I'll run a test for you." I'm like, "Yeah, I would like for you to run a test for me, okay? Go run the test." I didn't say it that way. I'm a coward. I'm a yellow, just like Luke talked about earlier. So he went back. He ran the test. He comes back. He goes, "It's negative. I was right. You're going to be fine." And I'm like, okay. So I leave. I get a second opinion. I go to another urgent care the next day because I'm miserable. I walk in, and she goes, "You think you have strep?" And I was like, "I swear if you tell me to blow in your face, I'm going to give up." So then she says, "I'll just run a test on you real quick, but first open up." And I was like, and she goes, "You have strep." I'm like, "You looked. All you did was look, and you knew." The first guy I went to for help, I needed help. I knew what I needed. I knew what kind of help I needed. I needed him to give me some freaking antibiotics. I'm pretty sure he lied about the test too. I'm pretty sure he didn't have rights to that place at all. I was waiting for a camera to pop. I'm like, gotcha, Andy, and it didn't happen. So I wasted money going to a place I thought was going to give me help that did not give me help. How often, all jokes aside, how often do we do this? How often do you do this? Where you have a place that you go to for help, for advice, for wisdom, and over again you find yourself going like, why did I listen to that? Some of you don't even know that you're in that right now. Like you're listening to your favorite political commentator, or you look up to this athlete, you look up to this singer, whoever it might be, and you're shaping your life around these people. You're shaping your life around wisdom that will fail you instead of going to the place you should go first. And this is what the author of Psalms is talking about here. The author says we put our hope, our trust, our joy in who? Some dude wearing sweatpants? Which I don't have a problem with. They're comfortable, but if you're a doctor, act accordingly. We put our hope in the Lord. We put our hope in God. He is our what? Help and our shield. He's there to assist us in the mission he's given us. He's there to protect us when things don't go the way that we had originally planned and to guide us. So often we are drawn to other places. So often we're looking around for advice and for wisdom in other places first, and it's not all bad. Like sometimes your mom and your dad and your doctor can give you good advice, but other times they're human and they're going to make a mistake. They're going to give you improper advice, and that's going to lead you down a path you don't want to go. And so the invitation from God is to go to him first. And this is your bottom line. With voices loud, because the voices are loud, and choices wide, let God be your guide. With voices loud and choices wide, you can go everywhere for advice. Let God be your guide. This person knows what I'm talking about. So what's your next step today? With all that in mind, anytime you feel tempted to go to somewhere else first, to someone else first, to pick up the phone first, stop, pause, and pray that God would guide you to where you need to go. The 2 seconds are for Sarah.
All right, Andy. I, as well as the rest of the church, am very concerned for your health. Where did you find this doctor?
I don't want to out the urgent care that I went to, but it was in Perrysburg.
Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Okay, Andy, buddy, I want to talk to you in a way that you can really understand. So I was thinking, what would my grandparents say? You did swell. Jeepers, you're the bee's knees in the cat's pajamas. Good job, Andy. What'd you think, Luke?
Andy does it again. Story was definitely memorable. We will be talking about that one and looking for that doctor for years to come. Catchy bottom line, with voices loud and choices wide, let God be your guide. Stop, pause, and pray was his next step, and he cruised through his random words. Arc, pulse, eccentric, hoodie, serenity. Andy shows himself to be the master once again.
Okay, well, we're wrapping up fourth quarter. We're not quite done yet. There is still time for you to vote. Vote right now on the Cedar Creek app. And while you're casting your final votes, we have some exciting things coming up at Cedar Creek that we don't want you to miss. So check this out.
How are you going to spend 2025? Are you going to do the same thing you've always done? Or are you going to go on a new adventure? What if you gave us 1 year and pushed yourself, got outside your comfort zone, helped other people, went somewhere extraordinary? What if you discovered what God wants for your life? There's no limit to what 2025 can look like for you. Don't miss this year at Cedar Creek.
'25 is a huge year for Cedar Creek. This is our 30th anniversary. We're celebrating in the fall. Luke, why does that matter to you?
30 years has flown by. I was 13 years old when the church began, and truly, we are just getting started.
Oh, there is so much more to come. We're marking this as a year of response, recognizing all that God is doing and responding to Him in those spaces. We can't wait to see what's coming. And before we go any further, we have one final endorsement. Again, this one is from the team captain of Team Andy, so it's from Andy. Final endorsement. Andy he chose to re-sign and endorse one of our crowd favorites. Oh, I'd love to be an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I truly like to be. 'Cause if I were an Oscar Mayer wiener, everyone would be in love with me. The words of Andy. Andy, keep shooting for the stars, buddy. Okay, well, we're almost done. We've got just a couple more things to go. We'll see you in just a minute.
At Uber Eats, their slogan is get almost anything. Lame. Here at DoorDash, get literally anything using Double Dash. Simply order your craving, then add literally anything else you want. Both orders arrive together with the same dasher for no additional fees. Whether it's some suave 16-in-1, late night snacks, or whatever the freak you want but don't need. Chick-fil-A and a face tat? My pleasure. Sushi and a minimally invasive surgery? No, that's a great Friday night. Burger, fries, and a body piercing? Have it your way. Chinese takeout and a certified dog adoption? Treat yourself. Taco Bell and a brand? Live Moscow, girl. DoorDash, Double Dash. The easiest way to make life's important decisions on an impulsive whim.
That has regrets written all over it.
Can I get a pastrami on Ryan, a paternity test? No! I'm not convinced he's my dad.
Luke! Okay. So we are almost done. Can you bring us back? What are your final thoughts?
All right, we had a great competition. We had some awesome bottom lines. Barb had your past is your history, but not your destiny. Sarah, trusting in a good God can't be bad. Ben gave us peace is a posture, not a place. Andy had with voices loud and choices wide, let God be your guide. Let's give it up one more time for all of our contestants today.
Good job, everybody. Hey, we know that Ben is at the peak of his preaching game, and Andy, he's the daddy-o of the sock hop, so we really can't lose. But let's find out who you chose to be the winner. Sending it back down to Zeke.
All right, well, the results are in. You've all voted, and let's see who the winner of this year's Preach-Off is. By one vote, it is Team Ben. One away. All right, well, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You ready to leave? It's real. Okay. So that's how Barb's feeling. Ben, tell us, what's going on in your mind right now?
Well, hats off to the two of you. You guys are formidable competition, and thanks for the votes, everybody.
All right, we're going to come back to you, Barb. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling wonderful. We are so excited to have all of you joining us in the room and online, and it's been a fun time. Have you had a great time today?
And yes, I will rub this in your face in about 3 minutes.
Very real. Well, it's been real. Thank you guys for playing with us, but don't go anywhere just yet. We have a few more words from our lead pastor, Ben.
Well, again, good job. Give your hands up for all of the contestants and Zeke and Luke and Lauren. I know some of you don't believe this, but every service, the verses are different. We don't know what they are, and we don't know what the words are. And so I think Andy is the only one who authentically enjoys this impromptu, off of the cuff. The rest of us, we love it and kind of hate it all at the same time. And so if you're wondering why we do this, it's a good question, because I have a track record of losing many times, although this service came out with the dub, which is great. But if you're like, why do we go to all of this work? 2 reasons: God's mission and God's heart. First, God's mission. I don't know if you go to church, have been to church, if you're watching online or on TV, thanks for tuning in. But Jesus' last words are our first priority. And one of the things Jesus invited all of his followers to do is to go and make disciples, which is, a biblical way of saying introduce people to Jesus and the life-changing adventure with him. Go means we need to go, not just stay. Go new places, new communities, yes, but also try new things to reach new people. And I'm convinced that people, unchurched people included, are not tired of Jesus. They're just tired of the overused, boring ways sometimes Jesus is talked about. And so Preach Off is really our way to find some fresh approach to talk about the spiritual journey in a way that I hope captures your attention. And one of the ways we love to capture attention is through humor. Like, I think as Christians, we can get so serious about life that we forget to laugh at life. And humor can break down some of the barriers and even some of the feelings that I've been having about my life and my day, and it can open our hearts to a God who cares about you. And here's a challenge. I get it. You probably didn't laugh at every commercial or every joke. That's normal. That's the way that humor works. I don't actually expect you to laugh at everything, but I am convinced that laughter is a gift from God. And so it is a reflection of God's heart for you and me. Like, he delights in us, in you. Like, I love watching you laugh. It is amazing. This weekend is an invitation that we don't have to take our life so serious. Like, we can take laughter as serious as God does. It's a reflection of his joy. And so the only way we do that is by human-sizing our expectations of ourselves and not trying to be bigger than we are or not listening to the lies that make us smaller than we are. I mean, our hope is that you would be responsive to God, that you would sense his presence in your life. Like, our hope is that you would give us a year and you'll watch God change your life. I've seen God do this again and again and again. No matter who you are, no matter where you've been, what you've done, what you believe, in Jesus, we see a God who pursues you out of love and joy. And he's inviting each and every one of us to experience a new life, a purpose-filled life in him. So if you want more joy and more purpose and more encouragement, give us a year, and next Super Bowl, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, I'm a different person. Life is different. If you want a little taste of what's coming up, this next series, I think, is going to be incredibly practical and helpful for your everyday life. Jesus taught about two things: loving God and loving others. Most of the New Testament talks about that. And at church, we talk a lot about loving God. We should. But one of the ways that we grow in our relationship with God is learning how to love others. And too often, we hear love others, but we're not always taught how to love others more. And so this series is going to talk all about the practical ways to connect with people through our words. How do we grow in the way that we use words around us, at work, at home, in marriage, at school, in your neighborhood, with strangers? And so we're going to be looking at some very helpful practices for you to take with you. And what I love is the more you understand your wiring and your temperament, the more effective you're going to be able to be at using those words to communicate, not just love, but connection and hope. And so to prepare, we have a free assessment. I know some of you have already taken it, but I hope you come back next week taking the assessment and ready to learn and connect better with the people in your life. After that, as we get close to Easter, we are going to be looking into some poignant moments in Jesus' life at how he reacted to his circumstances that's going to impact how we might react to ours today. And so that prepares us all the way through Easter. But ultimately, our hope is that you would sense God's presence, his power, and his purpose in your life. Like, that's my prayer. Like, he is with you. He is for you. God is closer than you know. And he loves making us more than we could ever be on our own. Man, if you leave with anything, leave with that he delights in you and he has a vision for your life. In fact, I'm going to give you a moment to connect your heart to that truth. In a moment, our bands are going to come out and we're going to invite you to sing a song called "The Lord Will Provide." And the purpose of this is just to connect our hearts with those lyrics. So whatever campus you're at, I'm going to invite you to stand up right where you are and prepare to listen, respond, and sing with us these truths that are so important.
All do it. So why would I worry at all? 'Cause you're faithful to supply everything I need, everything I need. My Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time the Lord will provide. My Father has it, my Father has it. Look at the sparrow, lacking for nothing. No fear of tomorrow and what it will bring. If I have you, I have enough, 'cause your love will satisfy everything I need, everything I need. My Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time the Lord will provide. My Father has it, my Father has it. My Father has it. Seek first the kingdom and its treasures. Everything else it will be added. All that I'm needing, I know the Lord will provide. I know my God's not empty-handed. He gives us blessings upon blessings. I'm still believing. I know the Lord will provide. Seek first the kingdom and its treasures. Everything else it will be added. All that I'm needing, I know the Lord will provide. I know my God's not empty-handed. He gives us blessings upon blessings. I'm still believing. I know the Lord will provide everything I need, everything I need. My Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time the Lord will provide. My Father has it, my Father has it. Everything I need, everything I need. My Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time the Lord will provide. My Father has it, my Father has it. The kingdom and its treasures. Everything else it will be added. All that I'm needing, I know the Lord will provide. I know my God's not empty-handed. He gives us blessings upon blessings. I'm still believing. I know the Lord will provide. I know the Lord will provide. I know the Lord will provide.
Did you guys have a good time today? We serve a God who created humor, who created fun, and he will provide for us every step of the way. Come back next week. We're going to kick off that new series. I said this, you heard that. If you haven't taken the assessment yet, please do so before next weekend. We're going to be talking about your relationships and your communication. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to keep the fun going. So we have some donut holes available for you. We also have some blow-ups. Those are in the south atrium. As you exit out these doors, turn right. If you drop kids off, please pick them up before you go and grab a donut hole. But thanks for joining us. Hope to see you back next week.